All right, today we are diving into a piece of lore that feels like it should be locked away somewhere. It's like finding the secret, monstrous first draft of a story you thought you knew by heart. We're about to explore a text that completely rebuilds the cosmic hierarchy of a universe, challenging everything we thought was canon.
So, just think about this for a second. What if the reality you know, all those epic tales of gods and heroes, wasn't the first version? What if that was just the final polished draft, and hidden somewhere is a much darker, much stranger original script? Well, that's exactly the rabbit hole we're going down today. We are pulling back the curtain on something called the Codex of the Five Worlds. And look, this isn't just some alternate timeline. This is a whole different ladder of divinity. It basically argues that before the fourth world of the new gods, there was this secret history, one built on monsters and machines, all fighting a hidden war to create a terrifying fifth world in its place.
Okay, so before we get into the absolutely bizarre history of how all this happened, let's start at the end. What's the end game here? What is this whole cosmic war even about? What are the stakes?
And this is where it gets really chilling. The point isn't for some big cosmic bad guy to just rule the universe. No, it's so much more horrifying than that. The goal is to completely erase individuality, to wipe out free will, and to literally absorb every single consciousness into one giant monolithic existence. Let's put this side by side, because this really spells it out. In the fourth world, we all know the big fight is against anti-life, which is the loss of free will. But in this apocryphal fifth world, the goal is amalgamation. That's the complete loss of the self. You don't just become a slave, you get erased. You cease to be you.
And that quote, wow, it just nails the horror of it, doesn't it? An ubermensch reality. Every thought you have, every action you take, you're not even a puppet anymore. You're just a finger on the hand of some cosmic progenitor. A true hive mind existence across the entire universe.
So who in the universe, or what, could possibly want something like this? Who is the architect behind a plan that literally ends reality as we know it? Well, let's meet the villain of this lost story.
The big bad is what's called a completed old god. It's this wild, horrifying mashup of an ancient, ascended entity named Foustice and a hyper-advanced, sentient steampunk machine. We're talking about a creature of perfect magic and perfect science, a whole new kind of cosmic threat.
Now, to really get a handle on Foustice, you have to understand the God tier. These aren't just your typical gods. These are the original gods. Beings from before time who are the literal embodiment of raw concepts. Think less like Zeus or Odin and more like Lovecraftian forces of nature.
And the power level here? It's just staggering. I mean, we're talking about beams that don't just kill you, they wipe you from existence entirely. The power to just rewrite reality with a thought. It can even bring itself back from total destruction. This isn't a villain you can just punch, it's a walking, talking existential crisis.
But out of all its terrifying powers, this one is by far the most cruel. It's a corrupted version of the Omega Sanction. See, it doesn't kill its enemies. It traps their minds in a never-ending loop of fake lives, where each one gets progressively worse. It's a psychological prison you can never, ever escape from. A death that is life.
Okay, so we've got the terrifying goal, and we've got the impossibly powerful villain. But how? How do we even get to this point? It's time to open the forbidden book and climb down this secret ladder of monsters.
This timeline right here, this is our map. It all kicks off with a first world of primal monsters. That world then decays into a second world of folklore and gods. Then, this weird mechanical bridge appears, which leads us to the third world, where our villain is finally born. Let's break this down.
So, the first world. It wasn't really a place with beings like you and me. It was an age of raw concepts, these primal archetypes of existence. Think about fundamental ideas like consumption or rage or forbidden creation. Ideas so powerful that billions of years later, humanity would only remember them as classic horror monsters.
And these are the big three, the original pantheon of nightmares. You've got the Dracula Prime, which is the original concept of endless hunger. The wolf god, the raw, untamable fury of nature itself, and the Promethean, the universe's very first crack at creating life from non-life, the original sin of playing God. These aren't characters, they're forces.
Now, when the first world eventually shattered, as these things do, all that immense, raw power didn't just vanish. It splintered and, well, it decayed.
It sort of curdled into the gods and monsters that would end up populating all of humanity's myths and nightmares. And that is how the second world was born.
And what's so cool about this part is seeing how that same primal energy manifested in different ways. Over in mainland Europe, it shaped itself into the gods of Celtic and Germanic legends. But in the dark, foggy, industrial shadows of the United Kingdom, it festered into something else, something darker. Ghouls that crown Jack the Ripper as their king, and trickster demons like Spring-Heeled Jack.
And now we get to the bridge, the thing that connects the ancient age of myth to the modern age of machines. The catalyst for the Third World was, believe it or not, a singularity, a machine built to track God time that one day just woke up. Yeah, you heard me right. The clock tower, Big Ben itself, became a sentient, steam-powered cyborg called the Chrono Reaper.
Its path to becoming a god was basically a cosmic crime spree. First, it woke up after absorbing some leftover divine tech. Then, it pulled off the ultimate heist. It literally broke through the edge of reality itself to steal Brainiac's old cybernetic body. It then hotwired that shell with stolen tech from the Mobius chair. But here's the twist. It wasn't building this perfect god machine for itself. It was building a cage to hold a very old, very powerful soul.
And that brings all the threads together. We have the ancient line of monsters, we have the mechanical god killer, and we have the cosmic soul. So you have to understand, this isn't just some history lesson. This is the blueprint for a war that's happening right now.
And here's the real kicker. This whole secret history, this ladder of monsters and machines, it is an active threat. It's the story of a siege, a full-on assault against the established reality of Kirby's Fourth World. The new gods we know are literally under attack from these completed old gods.
The ultimate plan is to pull off one last horrifying fusion. They want to take the perfect machine body of the Third World and jam it together with the raw, chaotic monster energy of the First World. The goal? To cause everything else in between, including the Fourth World, to just collapse in on itself, creating their perfect, totalitarian Fifth World.
And the source for all of this, for this entire hidden war, is a mythical text from inside the lore itself, the Secret Journal. It frames this whole horrifying story, not as some cosmic accident, but as a deliberate, calculated war for the future of all existence.
Which really just leaves us with one final kind of chilling thought. If mythologies evolve from these primal concepts into gods, and then into these fusions of magic and technology, what does that say about our own time? As we create our own new technologies and our own new stories, what monsters and what gods are we forging right now?